Hi Preeti, good evening.
Good evening.
How
Good
are you doing?
evening. Perfect. How are you?
Okay,
Nice to see you.
fantastic. So I've got a funny question to ask. Are you wearing shoes right now or barefoot?
No, I'm ice bottling right now.
All right, awesome. That's really great. So today is very special. We have a wonderful, wonderful guest, Preeti Maneesh. We'll talk about Preeti in a short while. OOTYULTRA has 51 days to go. It's 5 and 1. All right. This will be the sixth edition, and I'm very excited as an organizer, race director, and also an ultra runner because I'm going to witness a lot of runners from all across the country to come and experience this magical Ooty, right? So Ooty is mesmerizing. I was there a couple of days back. It was cold and chill and beautiful, but one day it also rained. So that's the surprising part of Ooty, right? So we never know when it's going to rain, when it's going to keep us cool, and when it's going to harshly hit us. The daytime weather could be a little harsh. 19 days to go for the registration to formally officially end. I don't want this to happen, but we might have to close the registration much earlier than the 19th because the event has certain capacity, just considering the quality aspect of the event. All right. So let's kind of get back to our guest here. So we have Preeti. Preeti has been a very, very inspiring barefoot runner, and I'm sure those who are connected with running can appreciate. Its first thing is to okay, can you run? Right. So that's the first question. Now, can you run with shoes? Can you run barefoot? Right. So it's kind of suddenly it hits us and say that oh, okay, can somebody run in barefoot? Because the concept of barefoot running is not very familiar, even though the runners who are connected with running and marathon events can appreciate that, but it's still a small segment of people who appreciate the barefoot running concept. We'll get to that. So, Preeti, are uh, you're quite inspiring. Now, I've kind of learned about you, and I have a lot of questions to ask. Why don't we start with a little introduction? I know this probably needs a couple of hours for us to go over your profile and understand who you are. Why don't you tell us the best version of Preeti, who is probably now or is kind of going to be better in the future? So who's Preeti?
Okay, so I am a small town girl with big dreams, and I hail from this city called Hubli in North Karnataka. And so running happened in accidentally, and it was I started running when I took up my business, and there was a lot of stress, and people said, "Why don't you start gymming? Why don't you start working out?" So that's when I hit the gym. I started running on a treadmill, and one day when I just went to the gym, I saw the treadmill wasn't working. So there's a lake right opposite. My gym. So I just went running there for about 3 or 4 kilometers, and then I never went back on the treadmill. So after that, I started doing 5Ks and 10Ks, and then my first 10K was with Pinkathon, and after that, I started slowly. And then 6 months of my running journey, I realized that I couldn't run with shoes. I felt, it was very heavy on my legs. And one of my running mentor, he looked at my feet and he said, "Your feet are made for barefoot running. Why are you wearing shoes?" So after that, I just chucked shoes. And I know people talk a lot about, runners talking about, "Oh, I own, this brand of shoes and that brand of shoes." But then I don't have anything to, talk about it because I run barefoot. So Bobby has been very inspiring in my journey all this while, and a couple of other barefoot running friends. Sharan Roadrunner has been a barefoot inspiring, he's an inspiration for me. So like this, my barefoot running fraternity grew. I started reading about barefoot running, and yes, so this has been my journey with running. And I'm also a mother to a 9-year-old girl, and I'm a working mother. I run a preschool. I mentor, I coach students, and I'm a working mother as well, so time management is a big challenge for me. So my day starts at 3:45 in the morning, 6 days a week. So it starts with running, workouts, my kitchen. So I don't have a cook. So everything has to be from scratch. So I have to prioritize my day and my life, a lot. So that's where I don't watch TV. I don't have time for any other, I'm not a gadget person at all. Yeah, so
This
that's
is fabulous. Fabulous. I have a biggest fear that you're going to knock me off as somebody who's going to ask questions to get answers. You're going to be throwing me out now today.
I have a lot of questions because I'm running OT Ultra for the first time, and I've heard a lot of things about OT Ultra, and it's been my dream since 2 years. But because of the pandemic, I couldn't. And then when I saw the registrations OT Ultra open, I said, okay, yeah, I'm going to do this.
Okay. Now it's fabulous, and I'm sure there are a lot of people who like traveling, who like running, who like staying connected with the nature. Right. So Ooty is a beautiful hill station. Kind of all these things, all the planets are aligned. Right. So when you come to Ooty, it's a beautiful experience. So now you said that you started going to the gym, and then you saw the lake outside. The treadmill was not working. So this is probably a warning for all the gym owners not to set up their gym next to a lake. So you're going to lose your clients. So what aspect of running is most enjoyable to you? Because I know that running itself is a journey, and then everybody has a different take, right? So what aspect of running excites you, Preeti?
So for me, it is not the speed, not the pace. It's about the trail. I enjoy a lot of trail runs and not very crowded runs. When I run, I want to enjoy the breeze around me, the landscape around me, and the hospitality. So it's more of nature that really attracts me, because since barefoot running is very close to Mother Earth. So I feel very connected when I run in places where there's a lot of greenery, there's a lot of nature around. Yeah.
Okay, so the nature
Yeah.
excites the nature part of running. So you said you're from Hubballi. Is it? I've just kind of zipped through Hubballi driving by, but I don't know much about Hubballi. Is it a town which is closer to the nature? Do you see a lot of trees and lakes? And so
Yes.
what's the special aspect of Hubballi?
So we have, I mean, it's more like a pit stop for people who go from Bangalore to Goa, Dandeli. So it's very close to Dandeli, and it's also close to Shirshi and the which route would I say? It's the Sahyadri Ghats. It's closer to that part of the country. So yeah, we do have a lot of greenery, and Dandeli is close by, and yes.
Okay. And how long since you started this fitness journey?
2018 is when I started with my first running journey. So it's been, yeah,
Okay.
like six,
Mhm.
7 years.
Okay. And do you have any memorable moment to share?
Yeah, memorable moment. I see when I went to Coorg for the barefoot marathon. It was my first run there, so I enjoyed trail running so much with the coffee estates around. And then when I was running, I could see the sun rise, and it was just gushing through those coffee plantations and hitting me. So I can't forget that part of my route there. So after that, my connection with nature and trail running grew a lot.
Okay, okay. Now I'm sure running through trails and trees and coffee plantation is another unique experience, and that's something that I have enjoyed a lot. Running the Malnad Ultra, the Vagamon. We used to have an event called the Javadu Ultra. So these are some really amazing places. You never think that okay, there are certain unique places, beautiful places that even if you're a tourist, if you have a vehicle to go, you can't experience these kind of places. But if you're a runner, if you know how to cycle or if you know how to walk, then you're the world is wider, right? So there are many opportunities for you to go and experience. So that's how even the Bison Ultra came to an existence, right? So if you see, Irkut is another beautiful hill station. So there's a lot of beautiful lot of private estates, right? So accessing them is generally not there for common man, because you're going to drive through the roads and then you can walk. But getting into the estates is certainly a unique opportunity. So that through these events, We all get to experience that. How do you manage running barefoot in a trail section? Because the trail sections are notorious for stones and stubs, and there are a lot of more, let's say, damaging elements to your feet than running in a road which is less severe, I guess. So how do you manage running in a trail with barefoot?
So one thing I would like to say here is, even before I even registered for an Ironman, I'm an Iron man because I've got iron pieces in my leg a couple of times.
Right.
So,
That being in mind,
so I've had all glass pieces. I've had thorns and everything. So that's one reason why I do a switch between Vibrams and barefoot running. So
okay,
I
yeah.
picked up Vibrams with one reason, to do trail runnings, because I know my foot health is also important, because my entire running is dependent on my foot. So keeping that. Sorry.
Okay, losing. Hello.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I suddenly lost you for a brief
Yeah,
second.
I don't.
Yes, I understand that. So the minimal shoes logic is something that I've been experiencing recently, because you can also get to the near barefoot experience, but at the same time you're also protecting and saving your legs. That's something really cool. How did you get into yoga, Preeti? So what element of your life is affected by yoga?
So I use yoga mainly for for my meditation, to calm down, because from morning 4 till night 9 it's always a rat race for me. So I need to also calm myself down. So I use yoga to meditate, and I also use yoga for my flexibility, because as a runner, I lift weights, I run, so the body becomes very stiff. So I use asana part of yoga to for flexibility, and the dhyana part of yoga for my meditation. And also
Okay, nice.
a lot of other places where it helps me focus, and it helps me to be mindful about everything around me.
Absolutely. I think that there's a lot of so much things happening in our life. The so-called chaos. It could be business. It could be all beautiful chaos, right? So sometimes chaos doesn't mean that it's always unorganized, but like our traffic, right? It's chaos, but it's organized. So
Absolutely.
beautiful. And then those chaos is something that keeps us busy, but when you really understand how our human body responds to those stresses, it's all stress, right? So even being highly satisfied and happy is also a stress the body has to deal with. And then there has to be a calming moment, right? So the calming moment could come from each one of us have our own fix, right? So I like running around the Yelahanka Lake. I just go out, and then it's so beautiful early in the morning. You see a lot of native birds, and this season is really, if you are in Bangalore, if you love lakes, you will also experience a variety of birds, migratory birds. So the last year was the first time I started counting the number of birds. I started identifying them, and I came across close to 30 species of birds. Okay, so I can understand their call signs. I can understand their behavior. Do they live in the swamp? Do they, can you find them on the wires and fences, or do you see them in the lake or in the, let's say, land? So it is amazing, right? So if you are in Bangalore, very close to the lake, or look for lakes, come to Yalanka Lake, come to Arohalli Lake. It's really amazing to experience this. So that's really awesome, right? And then I think finding a time for ourselves to de-stress and remove those clutter. I think that yoga does it best, meditation does it best, and then also getting this right quantity of sleep every day night. Night is, it's also kind of, all those things can help us balance things here. Okay.
Yes.
So now when we talk about you being an educator, so what is that you teach? Are you into regular subjects, or is it the yoga, meditation, or some kind of happy, healthy living? So what exactly is the education part of the
So
educator part of this?
I'm an early educator. I run a preschool. I run a preschool for toddlers aged between 2 years to 6 years, and I also mentor. For a year, I also had a 1 year of teaching MBA students also during the pandemic.
Okay, from toddler to MBA student. Okay,
Yeah.
that's really awesome. So, do you have some kind of a setup? Is there an institution that you
Yes.
run for the Chocolate.
I run an organization.
What's the name of the?
So it's called Little Ellie. The school is called Little Ellie.
Little Ellie, ELLE. All right.
Little Ellie, Ellie the elephant.
Oh, Ellie, the little elephant. Okay. And where is this located?
So it's about 3 kilometers from my house, South Bangalore, Banerghatta Road. So I run a school there.
Okay, that's awesome. And do you want to talk about your family? How many members are there? Is that how do they see your activities? Because I remember the day I started going out to explore running, and then getting longer. The time away from the family was stressing me out and also stressing the rest of the family members, right? So how do you balance this time now? Who are your other family members?
So we have a dynamic built at the home already. My husband and I both go to bed by 8:39, and even the girl goes to sleep by 8:15, 8:30, and he also wakes up by 4, and even I wake up by 4. So we have a similar routine. And since I run my own school, so I have a lot of time for my daughter also after 3 o'clock. So I spend time with
How old
her.
is she?
She's
How old is your daughter?
9.5 years old. In grade 3. Yeah. So she's on her own. She does things on her own, very low maintenance. And my mom is around me. My in-laws are on and off. In fact, my in-laws were all with me all this while. So just moved out to their hometown because we have a house there now. So they're on and off here. But they're all my biggest support systems for me. My husband, my daughter, my mom, my in-laws, all of them.
I think that's absolutely a very important point that you bring in, right? So generally it's considered that women in India are dedicated, focused in raising the family, supporting the family. They're willing to sacrifice. They go to any means and extent to make sure that the family comes first. And then there is a lot of compromise made on their own desires and expectations and achievements and goals. We also see a lot of women are well educated, but again, don't have an escape path. They are at home, stuck between four walls and taking care of, that's a kind of the so-called sacrifice that has been made. While this is admirable, it is not really good in terms of, how it's going to affect them, their mental health. Let's talk about their physical health. So having a great support, understanding spouse, parents, children, the entire family is part of the health journey. I have experienced within my family. I've got a lovely wife, kids. They all support my goals, and in turn, everybody talks about being healthy, eating healthy food, going to bed on time, also having fun. Even though it looks very, very okay, is it really possible? I think most of the time you get this question like, is it really possible? Can you hit the bed at 8:30? Can you get up at 3:30 in the morning, like the way you're doing it? So you're an early riser. You go to bed early. Is it really possible? I think it is possible, right? What is your experience of bringing this discipline into the family? I'm sure there's a lot of moms out there, a lot of women out there who are kind of stuck in between certain things. They have certain desires to achieve. I'm not just talking just about running. It could be a hobby, it could be something deep within desire that they want to do. So how is that you brought that balance in your family? And you said that you already have a great supporting family members. How is it working in your case?
So I think when you want to do something, I think universe sends support, and then universe sends its ways to support you. And when you have your own discipline in place, when you see not all the time motivation works. When there are times when I'm really very demotivated, it's not that all 365 days a year, I'm on the peak of my motivation, but there are times I don't feel like getting up. But that's the time when I say, okay, this is not done. You need to be disciplined in life. I do take breaks. I have my cheese pizza, I have my masala dosa, I have my puri bhaji, but I'm very mindful about what I eat, what time I sleep, and I'm not a very party person because my party starts at 4 in the morning on the road. So yeah, so universe sends in all the support when you actually want to do something. That I've experienced that personally. When you want to do something, you find your ways to do it.
Yeah, but don't you think that's not the right thing that happens all the time? So that there is a stress. There's a stress in terms of how do you make it work, and I'm sure not many people have figured out how to kind of make it work, right? So I have this philosophy in my life and also in my coaching, and I talk to all my clients. It's like wear your oxygen mask first before you kind of, it's, what happens when there is a low pressure in a flight. Oxygen mask is there with everybody, but you have to wear, you have to fill, make sure that you're able to breathe before you support others. So being that little extra selfish towards your own health and wellness goal. And we're not talking about bad habits, we're not talking about traveling or going away. But I think health and wellness goals have to be very, very personal, and then we all have to be selfish. I think probably that's the point that you're trying to make, right? So you need to be selfish. Yes. When you're selfish, you basically can drag the entire family along with you. Okay, right. And then the little extra discipline that comes in it. So how do you manage your social media distractions? I'm sure I've seen that your Instagram has got a lot of followers, right? So they already find you very inspiring, and then they like to kind of listen to you and follow you, I guess. How do you manage the social media?
Reminders. I set a 1 hour reminder on social media. So whenever during the day I complete 1 hour, it gives me a reminder. So that's when I say, okay, I shut down social media. It's only the next day that I open it. And I prioritize a lot. I use things very mindfully. So it helps me. I'm very headstrong that way. And it's taken me years to reach here.
Gotta get the discipline. Because it's also it's an experience that we become wiser only in the future. Right? So you kind of go through this little chaos, then you start organizing things. Just kind of helps you get better, right? So now, when we talk about OT Ultra, you said that you were excited about OT Ultra a few years back, which is that the pandemic and other things. So what aspect of OT Ultra that you want to really, really enjoy and experience this time? So you're going to do a 30K in OT, is that right? So what are you looking forward to achieving in the OT Ultra this time?
Finishing strong at the finish line. I want to be able to sprint that 500 meters when I reach the finish line and get the medal. That's my goal that I've been manifesting since a long time.
I'm going to put a star conditions apply, okay? So meet me at the finish line, and then let's see if you had sprinted the last 500 meters.
I know. I've been preparing myself, since the last couple of weeks now. So my coach is giving me really torturous structured plan. He's giving me 2 uphills every week. So I'm like, okay. So I know it's not going to be a cakewalk. And I've heard OT Ultra is known as the Indian comrades. So I know it's not going to be easy. So I'm mentally, physically, more than physically, mentally preparing myself that, it's not going to be easy, but I'm going to give it my shot, my best shot.
I know the purists would always argue and say that, hey, 15K and 30K, how is an ultra marathon, right? So there's a lot of debate that goes on all the time. But I think for me, your ultra journey starts with the first kilometer, right? It starts with aspiring to run it, aspiring to travel to different places, and then moving. Barring all the technical definition of what ultra marathon is, for somebody 60K could be a cakewalk, for somebody 15K could be extremely difficult to achieve, right? So if you see the way the OT Ultra as an event which is set up, it's originally designed for helping comrades marathon runners, right? So we're training in my academy to get that experience of running in the mountain, get your pacing strategy right, getting your fueling strategy right, start respecting the mountains, right? So the mountains, the first thing is you see the magnanimity of the mountains, right? So they're going to brutally punish you, because when you're traveling in a 4-wheeler bike, you don't even know that there is a gradient there. But when you walk, your legs will feel it. Your heart will say that there is a uphill, the breathing rate will increase. And then suddenly you feel that your form is not the same. Running in Bangalore, running in Cochin, or Bombay versus running in OT is completely different. Okay, so that was the original idea, is to bring the runners, to give them that right training experience. But then suddenly you see that the world opened up, right? So everybody wanted to travel to OT, and then there was, of course, without getting into too much details of the history, so 30K and 15K was introduced. But then now we've got 90K, right? So the 90K this was a a long-awaited dream come true. The last edition of OT Ultra, so we've introduced the 90K. It's pretty amazing to see how the elements of human performance can be witnessed in one single place, right from the amateur, absolute beginners to somebody who's experienced. They've got the good, well-trained legs, multiple years of running experience, coming and attempting. It is brutal considering that. So that how the 90K runner would feel that route map, the elevation profile, the temperature, the heat, and all this other chaos that happens during ultra runner. The same thing can be experienced by a 15K runner who's kind of coming there for the first time. But that's why if you see OT Ultra 15K does not have a cutoff time. Even the first year we had cutoff time, for several reasons the cutoff time was removed. So those who are running the 15K, the event is designed for you to experience the beauty of Nilgiris, Ooty, going uphill, going downhill, kind of walking with the friends, making some, kind of taking selfies and probably witnessing some of these iconic places. You see OT Ultra this year, we're going to start from the boathouse. We're going to go through the botanical garden. And there's also, I'm scheming up another beautiful experience for everybody, which I will probably talk about it when it happens. Then the Ooty, you climb all the way up to the Dodabada Peak and then finish at the beautiful tea park. It's a beautiful park which is designed by the Tamil Nadu Horticulture Department. So the first 15K you experience the best of Nilgiris. Even if you pay 5,000 rupees on a taxi, you'll not get all this experience. You have to walk and experience that. Okay.
I did read somebody's comment saying, no matter how much of money I pay, I will not get this experience that OT Ultra has given me. So that's one thing that's been ringing in my mind after I read that comment.
Tahir said that in the first edition. He said, oh, okay, coach, what is this route, right? 60K is again, it takes you further beyond 15K. There's completely, you're getting into the village sections. There is tea estates. There are some, little mini forest area that you go through. It's simply amazing. And then that experience is, it gets harder and harder if you're running 60K, 90K, because the daytime can be harsher. Even though you start the Ooty weather first week of April, at the start line could be about 12, 13 degrees. And then suddenly you see around 12, 1, it's about 25, 28 degrees, but piercing sun. It's going to hit you. It's fun actually. It's fun actually.
Nice.
So are you coming alone or are you going to come with your friends? Do you have a gang which is accompanying you?
No, I am generally a solo traveler when it comes to running because I feel traveling solo gives me a lot of me time and I don't lose event focus. Because when I travel with a gang, I end up unnecessary socializing, which I don't want to do, especially with a 30K. I want to have a lot of event focus and spend a lot of time with myself.
You want to be in your own zone.
Yes.
To get there. Okay. All the socialization can happen at the finish line.
After the finish line.
Okay. So awesome. Now, oh, Sharan says big gang. Look at that.
Yeah, he's my gang.
How can you ignore him? Okay. Sharan says, yeah, Sharan is another very inspiring. I've been seeing him in the first year, runs with the Indian flag, and it takes a lot of pride in doing it. Happy to have him there. So so what's your everyday schedule like, Preeti? You said you get up early in the morning, and then again. All pretty, but hell in disguise. All right, Yuvraj is, by the way, doing his 90K there. Okay,
wow.
So I'm sure. Yes, it's awesome to have him there. So what do you do in the daytime and what do you do on the weekends? Do you run every day? So what's your schedule like?
So 3 days a week I run, and 3 days I do my strength workouts, and 1 day it's yoga, foam rolling. So foam rolling is mostly every day. But yeah, Sunday is a rest day. I sleep and I recover. But yeah, Monday to Saturday is mostly, it's all running and alternate days of gymming. In between, kabhi manaya, so I just go and also get into the pool to just get a muscle recovery.
Okay. All right. So
and then
you swim there or walk? What do you do in the pool? Do you swim, walk? Do you swim? Swim and okay.
Yes.
All right. Awesome. Pretty awesome, pretty awesome. Anything that you want to clear up? It's like OOTYULTRA, so this is something that I'm not very sure. What would that be, Preeti?
Okay. So I just wanted to check what would what do you think? See, any specifics that you would like to like us runners, especially who are running the first 30K, any specific areas that you think we should focus on since we are coming for the first time? And 30, this is my first 30K. I've always done half marathon, so this is my first. And like me, there are a lot of many people who are doing their first 30. So any specific areas or any tips that you'd like to give first timers like us?
All right, let's see how I can respond to this. So you've been running half marathons in pretty much in flat courses or maybe a little hilly terrain, but again, first time 30 kilometer, let's say the longest. So what are the various things that you can do right now? See, OOTYULTRA is 51 days away, 51 days away, okay? And then, so you've got about 3 weeks in February, four to 5 weeks in March, and then, there we go. Suddenly, 2nd of April, you're at the start line of OOTYULTRA. So what is that you can do now? What is that you should remember? The first thing is, any ultra marathon, it's not an extension to a marathon. Okay, same thing goes with half marathon. Any let's say a 30K run in OT is not an extension, or you cannot extrapolate your time, your finish time. Oh, okay, I've done it 2 hours, 30 minutes. So another 5 kilometer, maybe, 45 minutes later, I'll finish 3 hours, 15 minutes, I'm going to finish OOTYULTRA. No, it's not like that, right? So the 30K, the fastest runner is about 2 hours, 15 minutes. So that's kind of course record, right? And then it's what is that you can do? Of course, if you're living in a hilly terrain, or if you have access to hills, or even a small stretch of about 500 meters, you can walk or run. Just make sure that you're climbing. The climbing and going up and down becomes a part of your training cycle. Okay, so there's again the mileage and other things are it's kind of very difficult for me to share because everybody has their own training legs and the history of training. So it's not the number of kilometers that matters, but maybe in the next 1 or 2 weeks later, most of your weekend runs or even weekdays, at least 2 days, just go and experience the mountains. Just go to, let's say if you're in Bangalore, go to Nandi Hills. Or if you're living in a place like Chennai, but you don't have access to mountains, if you're living in an apartment, just climb up and down. And if you're really good at climbing up and down, see if you can add some weights, maybe a backpack with your children's school bag, or if you have a small kind of baby you can carry. Just make sure that you're training your legs, and then do a lot of walking. It's absolutely important to walk because generally running is considered to be running because we don't talk about the walking element, right? And it's also generally considered as insult. Okay, I'm running a marathon, I cannot walk, and it's an insult. It's actually an art to introduce walking as part of your running. It's an art because you're just giving the muscles a little micro time to recover, and then again continue to move on, right? So there's a lot of walking should be included, and a lot of slow running, and especially the weekends. So these are things that are going to help you. And then brisk walk. And if you cannot run a mountain, so that's what it is, right? If you cannot run a mountain, walk. Okay, brisk walk. If you cannot brisk walk a mountain, just walk. Walking should be possible for all of us. And then second important thing is don't really come with a target time. Okay, say 5.5 hours the cutoff for the 30K. So 5.5 hours the cutoff for 30K for getting the medal, for getting the finisher medal, because OOTYULTRA. Let me quickly show you. So I've got this bag. This is let's say the goodie bag, the magic bag, which has got all the medals here. Okay. So now, if you're a 15K runner, so this is the 15K medal, right?
Wow.
So this is a medal specially made for the runner. Okay. So if you see this medal, Dhananjayan, 15K 2022, I'm probably having it. Either the 15K, so this person probably did not start the race. Okay, so that's why I'm having the medal. right? And then comes the 30K. The 30K has got a beautiful silver medal. So this is made 1 month before the event. The name is already laser cut here. Okay, and if you are 60K run, as the gold medal is reserved for 60K. This was introduced in the second edition of OOTY Ultra. First edition of OOTY Ultra, everybody got the black medal. The second edition, we got the gold, silver, and the black. And then, of course, the 90K runners would get this specially made copper medal. So this is the reward waiting at the finish line, apart from all the experience that we talked about. Okay, let's talk business, right? So the business is you need to get serious, and if you want to get this little prized possession, and yeah, Sharon says that you'll have your name on the medal. Yes, of course. You'll have the name on the medal. The medals are made a month before, so that's why we close the registrations very, very ahead of time, right? So 28th of February, the registration is closed. And then to get the medal, you have to finish the race within 5.5 hours if you're a 30K run. Okay, this is a well-detailed topic, right? I've also have experience of dealing with runners walking into the finish line 1 second later, 10 seconds later, and missing the medal. It's so hard. Okay, take it easy. That's the rule. That's the event rule. And then let's respect the event rule, because otherwise, if I allow 1 second later runner to get the medal, then I have to do the same thing for somebody who's walking into the finish line 1 hour later. Okay, so that's what the event is all about, right? So 5.5 hours cut off for 30K. For 60K, it is 10 hours and 30 minutes. It's pretty liberal cutoff time. Even if you're walking 5 kilometers an hour, 5 hours, you can finish 25 kilometers. But that means you still need another 1 hour to finish the race, 6 hours. So we don't have 6 hours, 5.5 hours. That means you need to plan. I need to go at least 6.5 kilometers every single hour in a mountain where there is going to be uphill, downhill combination. All right. So you are going to be running and walking. All right. So that's why the strategy. But again, the third thing is, so you remember the cutoff. You know, you're going to do a lot of training. Make sure that you're running and walking in the hills. And the second thing is make sure that you're also mindful about your cutoff. There is a cutoff time. And the third thing is make sure that you also get your fueling and hydration strategies right. It's really important, because marathon is the only sport. Ultra marathon is another sport which is at the next level, where you can eat something and at the same time you're also performing. Okay. You can't do all those things, when you're swimming. You can't eat so many things when you're swimming. You can't do that. Cycling, you can do that. That's another sport where you choose something and then go. Because that eating is not for luxury. That eating is not for the appetite part of it or satiety part of it. But that eating is to fuel your body. You need energy to perform in the mountains. Then hydration is important. The consumption of electrolytes and sodiums are important. So that's why the training days are really important to figure out what works really well for you.
Yeah.
Okay, because OOTY aid stations are well stocked, and you will get a lot of food items to eat, right from chickies to oranges to potatoes, boiled potatoes, not the raw potatoes, boiled potatoes, and electrolytes are there. So there's going to be chocolates available, especially in the second half of the race. If you're running 60K, then probably we'll also plan for some sandwiches. So 60K runners generally say that you can have a mini picnic at the aid station. All right, but remember, cut off. The clock is running.
Right. Interesting.
Okay. Hope that helps, Preeti.
Absolutely. So I had a lot of questions, and you cleared all of them in one talk. So I don't have.
No, it's really important that we acknowledge that this event is definitely being held in the most amazing place in Earth. Nilgiris is mesmerizing, okay? And at the same time, we need a lot more people to come and experience this. I'm born and brought up in Ooty, and I want runners to come and experience. It's really amazing. And then, of course, having people like you who already figured out things, you're still figuring out how to get better in life, and also inspiring many others. It's really important that we all kind of bring everybody in one single place. That's what the beauty of this event is all about. It brings everybody together. It unites everybody from all across the world. And really happy to have you on this conversation, Preeti, and at the same time, and also welcome you to Ooty. Okay.
Thank you so much.
Any final thoughts, anything that you would like to share to the moms who are waiting there to fly, who are waiting there to run, who are waiting there to experience probably barefoot running or swimming or cycling or exercise. I always say that yoga is important. Yoga and meditation is absolutely important, but that's not everything when it comes to exercising. Exercising is a purpose. You're purposefully getting out to get some strength or get some endurance. But I've seen lot of them talking about, okay, I'm doing yoga. Okay, fantastic. What about physical exercise? What about cardiovascular fitness? Do you go out and run? Do you go and cycle? Do you walk? Walking is absolutely the bare minimum thing that everybody can do if you're physically not kind of challenged, and then this is something that everybody can do, right? So what is the message for those moms who are just waiting for that little opportunity to get up? What would you like to say then?
Make time for yourself. I think that's more important, and don't give excuses. I think it's very easy to give excuses, but what's not easy is to make up your mind and get out. Wear those shoes and just get out and walk. No
Yeah,
matter
you
what
have to pick up.
part of the day it is, what part of the day. For me also, see, there are times I can't go for my workouts in the morning because, my daughter's not well. I don't get enough sleep. So what I do is I try to sneak. I try to get at least an hour of exercise in the afternoon or in the evening. So in a day, at least 1 hour you deserve for yourself. In all the 24 hours, 1 hour a day is something that you deserve for yourself.
Beautiful. Well said, Preeti. So the simplest message is with a pen in hand, get out of your home. Okay, and pick a fight. Pick a fight with whoever it is.